Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Neha Miglani, the editor of the Lifestyle Journalist magazine. We have a very special person with us today in a heart-to-heart conversation. Shri Sanjay Kundu ji, a very senior bureaucrat. He's the current DGP of Himachal Pradesh. The list of his brilliant academics and illustrious career is very, very long. So we come straight to the conversation. A very warm welcome, sir.
Good afternoon, madam. I'm very happy to be with you this afternoon. Warm welcome to you also.
Sir, we'll come to the professional questions first, and then we'll come to some personal questions since it's a heart-to-heart conversation. So a little bit about your duties and then beyond your duties also. So my first question is that you've been an alumnus of some of the most renowned universities in the US, and the list of your illustrious career is very long. You've worked with some important portfolios in United Nations. So this entire experience, how do you amalgamate in your daily routine, particularly now as the DG of Himachal?
See, first of all, you talked about the education. In American universities, there are 3-4 things that I learned from the universities was, first of all, the academic rigor is much more strenuous. Second is the peer learning, because not only the best within America, but a lot of international students also come who bring with them a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience. Third is American universities have very august faculty and they're world-renowned faculty. And then because America being the most developed, the interaction that you have is probably with top people in the world. So that is about the university education. So you talked about United Nations. There also, it's an international organization with over 190 countries represented. And I've been commissioner and I've been head of a force which has more than 50 country police officers. So there are a few things that you learn from them. First is best practices. What are the best practices for anything in the world that you get to know? And then try to imbibe them within your own work culture. So you can say that all this international experience has actually made me rich as a professional and also helped me to do my job as a DG much better. It is not kind of a rote kind of a routine that I do, but because of the learning and experience and the skill sets that I have learned there and acquired there, and these have come in very handy to me. And I think I've been able to add value to the job of DG on account of that.
So when you joined as the DG in Himachal, you were called back from the center and law and order in the state was definitely under question. It's an open secret. So post 2018, what has been the most important or the most significant difference that you feel, in policing then and now, of course, with the help of the state government and government's effort and the police's effort?
Neha, madam, you're right. Around that time, there were 3-4 incidents, and these are called peak kind of incidents. And first was Gudia, rape and murder of a school kid. Then there was killing of a town planner in Kasoli, which basically unsettled this hill state. This hill state is known to be quite peaceful, and it did not have history of such violent crimes. So when I came back, I took stock of things and I made 5 priorities. So number 1 priority or objective was to address crime against women and children. I believe that women and children constitute more than 50% of the population, and unless they are safe, no state, nation or society can progress. So that was my first priority. The second priority was to address issues of drug abuse and illicit drug trafficking. Himachal Pradesh, for some reason, had acquired a reputation of drug abuse and illicit drug trafficking, and I wanted to address it. Third was Himachal being a hilly state, the accidents, road traffic accidents are higher than the national average. And not only the accidents, but consequential deaths and injuries are also very high. So my third objective was to address road traffic accidents and consequential fatalities and injuries. Now, over the years, what has happened is organized crime has grown all over India, and so is the case with Himachal Pradesh. So, organized crime in the form of illegal mining, forest crimes, wildlife crimes, they had also grown. So, that was my fourth priority, was to address organized crime. And last but not the least is because I have to depend on my force. So, it was the welfare and well-being of my force that include their health, then their welfare in the sense that if someone gets killed, what do you do? If someone gets injured, what do you do? And largely issues around their health and welfare. So I set up these 5 objectives and work toward them. And I'm very happy that in last about 2.5 years since I've been there, we have been able to address most of them, and we have gone much ahead of what we were about, say, 3-4 years back. And I must compliment my officers and my force for supporting me in this. And I also must compliment the state government. I must thank the state government, its political leadership and administrative leadership for supporting me in this. And I think we have come a long way since I had joined.
Sir, what are the latest advancements that you have introduced in the Himachal Police, if any?
See, the thing is, you have to understand it is a technology-driven world today. So you cannot be away from technology and can be smart. That's out of question. So first thing is that how do you improve the sense of security? So when I joined, we initially did a survey that if we have 90,000 CCTV cameras, closed circuit cameras in the state, I think we will be able to saturate the state. Around that time, we had about 15,000 cameras. Today, I'm very happy that we have more than 50,000 cameras in the state, and these are located at strategic positions, say interstate barriers, inter-district barriers, say commercial hubs, industrial hubs, national highways. These have actually helped us to crack most of the crimes. We don't depend so much on witness-based evidence because that is unlikely to come today. People don't get involved with crime. So my objective is to take it to 90,000. I think within another 1 year, we'll be able to do it. I'll be very happy and pleased to share with you that this year it won the National E-Governance Silver Award. So these awards are not just limited to policing. These are across whole of the government. Then another thing was that what is a bad experience that anyone has with police officials is when they have to deal with traffic constables on the road. So it leads to crude, abusive, rude behavior and corruption. So we went in for something called Intelligent Traffic Management System with automatic number plate reading. So it will automatically detect if there are any traffic violations, and you'll get the message on your phone, and you can pay online and be done with it. Although we are a small Himalayan state and not of much consequence nationally, but I am very happy to say that in computerization, there is a program, national program called CCTNS, Crime and Criminal Tracking Networks and System. So for last 2 years, we are number 1 in the country. And this has been extended to a program called ICJS, Interoperable Criminal Justice System, in which all elements of the criminal justice system, that is police, prisons, prosecution, courts, and forensic science laboratories are integrated. Here also we are number 1 in the country. And one experience that any citizen has with police is when he goes for applying for a passport. So passports are issued after police verification report. They are called PVRs. So when I joined, the average time taken for PVRs in Himachal was about 50 days. So I said, why can't we do it in 24 hours? So I'm very happy that we are doing it in 24 hours. So Himachal, that way, the passport office here issues about 50,000 passports, but we are able to do the PVRs in 24 hours. For the last 2 years, we are number one in the country. And our average time today is 1.67 days, I think, which is unbeatable, unassailable. So through these technological upgradations, so we have improved our citizen-centric services and helped citizens to get better services. The Chief Minister is also one helpline 1100, where there is a line for police-related issues, and we are also doing very well with that. And one of the learnings was that a lot of complaints in police are against policemen for their bad and abusive and crude, rude behavior, human rights abuses, and corruption. So we have actually worked on that. We have improved the soft skills, and I think we are pretty good in that, in the sense that you don't find Himachal police or Himachal policemen in the news for wrong reasons.
Absolutely right, sir. I think the stress is both ways, not just people facing problem with the policemen. It's also the other way around. I feel it is only probably the nature of work. So it's not just discomfort from people's point of view. I'm sure the policemen also, it's the other way around as well. So we'll be coming to that question on employee welfare and the police welfare. Before that, sir, you've served on some of the very important positions. I'm sure any bureaucrat would want to have a career like yours, both at the center level, state level. You've served on important positions. So how do you balance your we are in a democratic setup, governments come and governments go. So how do you balance your political, say, friends or obligations and the official work? Because sometimes I'm sure at a senior position, it could be very challenging. So how do you balance this?
See, we have to understand and we have to be mindful of the fact that we are a democracy. So political leadership will always be above us. So we have to always look for political directions and follow the directions. But we have set of laws, we have constitution. We cannot just give a go-by to that. So we need to balance it. You cannot be doing 1 to 1 limit and 0 on the other. So it's a balance. And I have found that most of the time what political leaderships or say maybe your colleagues, senior officers want is some patient listening. You listen to the problem properly and you address it, give a person a patient listening. So I remember, I acknowledge that this is an important task. So within my front office, I have some officials who deal with this political kind of work. So whenever this work comes, at least the political leadership is satisfied that whatever references they have made are being attended to properly. So this is for political leadership also, and senior officers with whom I work, they come to travel to Himachal Pradesh, they want something done in Himachal Pradesh. So I have got a particular set in my front office which does this. Second thing is that it's not just about political leadership. There's something called mother's principle in governance or public service. So if someone comes to your office, how do you treat him or her? The principle is that if your mother were to go to that office, how would she like to be treated? So it's called mother's principle. So anyone who comes to your office, you offer him a seat, offer him a glass of water, and listen to him patiently. And once you've done it, try to do best you can do. But at least he goes back with the satisfaction that he has been treated nicely and he's got a good experience. So there's a saying that I often repeat is, people don't remember what you said. People don't remember what you did. People remember how you made them feel. So it is the experience that is extremely important. So anyone who comes with a political reference or say senior government officials reference, we give special attention. And this is the case for any other person who comes to my office. So I really did not have any difficulty on that account, because as I said, I follow these two principles. One is mother's principle. The other is giving anyone who's coming to visit you a good experience.
Okay. So youngsters now, they look up to impactful officers, be it IAS or IPS officers, rather than celebrities, which used to happen a few years ago. They look up to political figures, they look up to honest officers. So to a young IPS or an IAS aspirant, or to an ordinary, say, youngster in India, what is your message?
See, what I'd like to say is that in about 35 years of my service, I have never felt a moment of dullness or boredom. So it's a great job. I think within the Indian context, these are the greatest jobs that are there. Second is you are part of the governance. You can do something good for the country. You can do something good for the people. And then third thing is you can make a change. You are a change agent. You are a catalyst for change. And fourth, what you said correctly is that you are a role model. Actually, people see you and then they shape their future according to you. I have increasingly found that, as you mentioned, that celebrities and all, okay, it is one or they are very rich, they are very famous, but they hardly are role models for the next generation. And IS, IPS officers who do very well in the field are role models. They are remembered even after they have left their district. Many years after that, they have left their districts. And their services are actually acknowledged and recognized. So my message to most of these aspirants is probably it is one of the best jobs in the world. And it is a job with great impact. You can actually impact the society also, the state also, and people see you as role models and change agents. And I would welcome good minds to enter these services, those who are publicly oriented or publicly committed to come and enter these services and serve. And today, the salaries, pay and perks are pretty good, and we have very comfortable living. It is not, comparisons are not right, but I think we get a very good deal and it's a good job. And those who are committed to take this country forward should come and join these services.
Sir, you've already mentioned the police welfare part in the beginning of the interview. I would come back to the same question. Do you have a special place in your heart for your subordinates or in general for the police force? And what are the measures that you have taken, or something that is still on your mind you would like to do it? I'm sure a lot of your subordinates and contemporaries in other states will be very interested in what I'm asking right now.
You're right. See, I can work as much as my force can work. So it is very important my force has to be in good health and high spirits. So when I joined, I realized that a lot of people are not healthy here. Earlier, Himachal police force used to be fit and all, but now a lot of people had obesity, they had issues of heart, they had issues of, say, sugar. So we encourage them to at least exercise 1 hour every day. Take a walk, because police job is very, very committed. It doesn't have respite, but we encourage them to at least take a 1 hour walk in the morning so that they do physical exercise.
So all eyes are now on this. Like you just said, it's a small hilly state, but Gujarat and Himachal, I think the whole country is watching, is going to watch these two states now. So what are the preparations from your end? I'm sure all leaves have to be cancelled and there is so much to be done.
You're right. See, there's a lot of focus, attention on Himachal Pradesh and Gujarat. Our elections have been announced by Election Commission of India and model code of conduct has been. So there are 3-4 challenges in Himachal. First is the weather, because normally elections are held during winter time. So a lot of these high reaches, they get snow. So they're not accessible. But I'm very thankful to Election Commission of India that they have announced election on 12th. Normally after 15th November, a lot of these passes close, so it becomes very difficult. So one is this. Second is that we, as a state, we are pretty peaceful and we don't have history of so much of violence. We generally have had free and fair elections, but we've got very long borders. We have got about 350 kilometer border with Punjab, 200 plus kilometer border with J&K, border with Ladakh, then 180-kilometer border with Uttarakhand, some small border with UP. So these border areas are challenging. So what happens normally in elections is people try to influence, they try to use force. So the influences in the form of cash, is in the form of liquor, is in the form of goodies. Then some people resort to violence. Basically, there are some threats due to harm and all that. We are seized of these things, and we have already taken care. And there are Election Commission of India directives. Personally, I have toured 3 districts, and I'll be able to tour all the districts before the elections. My officers are also monitoring this regularly. And you'll be happy to know that our Caesars this time, basically to see that free and fair elections take place, are record. So compared to previous 2017 election or 2019 Lok Sabha elections, we have from the day one, from 1st October, we have started seeing that law and order in the state is good, and the elements which influence the elections are not there.
Okay, so we'll come to a couple of personal questions now. How do you like to de-stress yourself?
See, normally after work, I go for a very long walk of about 10 kilometers. Then after dinner, normally I see a movie either on HDTV or Netflix. And there are some very popular serials that I used to watch, like Big Bang Theory, 2.5 Men, Friends. And I'm also addicted to some Netflix serials also. And morning, when I get up, I listen to a lot of Punjabi music because it's very foot-tapping music, and it basically energizes you and it prepares you for rest of the day. So I'm actually amazed with the kind of energy that they have in Punjabi songs and all that. And I start my day with that, and finally end my day with some Netflix movie or some HDTV movie. And that is how I de-stress. And I talk to my kids who are abroad on WhatsApp video or say FaceTime video every day. I talk to my parents, talk to my in-laws. That is how I keep myself connected. And generally, every new day, I start fresh and I don't keep a backlog of the previous day.
Very interesting. So how do you, could you just tell a little bit about your family background? And since you've talked about the fact that you spare time for your parents and your children, any advice that you constantly give your children?
To my understanding, the family is the basic unit of social order. And that unit is there to support you and take you forward. So we have been a very close-knit family. My parents were academics. My father was a vice chancellor. My mother was a professor in NIT. And I have a sister who settled in US. And I've got 2 kids who are computer engineers. They're also working for Google and they're in US. So we talk to each other almost daily. We communicate with each other daily. And whenever we get time for social meetings, we do that. And my family has been a lot of support to me. And I think I've also tried to support my kids in whatever way that is possible. So, for example, I tell you that Himachal, I've been posted as district SPs in remote areas. There were hardly any education. The quality of schools was very ordinary that time. So every year, maybe twice or thrice, we used to take our kids for excursions outside, seeing good places. I did not want my kids to be left behind for the simple reason that I'm in a hill state and they did not have an opportunity to experience anything good. My in-laws stay in Bombay, so almost every year we used to go there, see around, show them museums, show them parks, show them whatever thing is to be seen, all these important artifacts and all that. So when they were slightly elder, we used to take them abroad. So that way, I think we made up for our remoteness here. Today, things are much better because you got HDTV, you got internet, you got OTT platforms. So you're very much connected. But about 30, 35 years back, things were not the same. But through this tight family, or say family being a unit, I'm very happy that we've stayed close-knit and connected.
Okay. So what are the most important life lessons that you've learned, be it professionally or personally? If you look back at your journey, you feel that, this is what I recall my lessons, most precious lessons.
There's a saying in Latin, carpe diem, that is seize the day. I would extend it to seize the moment. So my life lesson is seize the moment. Anything that you're doing, give 100% commitment to that. Say if I'm in this job, give 100% commitment. If I'm a father, give 100% commitment as a father. If I'm a brother, give 100% commitment. So seize the moment or seize the day is my life lesson. And if you miss the moment or miss the day, I don't think there's any chance that you can catch up with it again.
Okay, Sanjay sir, one extra question. So, if you were not an IPS officer, what would you have been? What was an alternate career that you think, oh, if not this, I would have been this?
I would have been a billionaire. I would be setting up my own business and I would have been a billionaire.
Or maybe a top corporate, a billionaire
after some time, maybe run my own business. So I'll just tell you that just because you've asked an extra question, I'll also give you an extra reply. So there's a particular thing that I tell my young officers. What is my job as police chief or DGP? I have got only two jobs. First is to improve the leadership levels among young officers. And the second is to give them a winning mindset. These are the two things that I try to give my next generation of officers. And how do you do it? One is being a role model. The second is that I realize that leadership is extremely important. Without leadership, you cannot go anywhere. So in my headquarters, I have something called Leadership Lecture Series. And we get eminent people to speak to our officers every month. I realize that our officers should see success, successful people, and successful habits. They should see leaders, leadership styles, and leadership practices. So it is not restricted to police officers. I get people from across the spectrum. So we've had Bollywood celebrities like Anupam Kher, CEOs of corporate world like CP Gurnani, who's CEO of Tech Mahindra, or say CEO of Microtech, then Army generals, then retired bureaucrats, Mr. N.N. Vora, retired governors, to just give a sense of success to my younger level officers, younger generation officers.
Thank you so much, Sanjay sir. It was a very heartful conversation and very honest and very, you did not mince a single word. And I'm sure it's going to be very interesting for anybody who reads or watches this.